The question comes as to why this act was made in the first place. See, after 1947, there were people who left this country in the name of Islam, and there were few people who were supposed to leave Pakistan in the name of Hinduism, because the country was Akhand Bharat was partitioned in the name of Islam and Hinduism. So one country, Pakistan, was Islamic, the other country, India, was Hindu. But we chose to be a secular country, other chose to be an Islamic country because the foundation of the country was Islam. Now, what happened was that there was a sign between India and Pakistan, then a treaty, where they said that people of respective countries who will be leaving their own properties may do whatever they want to for their respective properties in their own country. Now, we all know what happened with Hindu properties in Pakistan. See, every property of Hindus were either claimed, possessed, acquired, or just taken by the local Muslim population, which is the majority there. Now, what happened in India was most of such properties where Muslim people left for Pakistan, they actually declared it to the Waqf. So that is why in 1954, under Jawaharlal Nehru's government of first Congress government, they got this Waqf Act 1954. The problem is that, see, when you have a particular act in a country, you need to have a religion neutral acts. But the problem, and this is the problem I have with Jawaharlal Nehru up to that point Congress in general. In 1954, they introduced this Waqf Act to appease Muslims, and in the same year, they also introduced Hindu Marriage Act, or for that one Hindu Code Bill, which they later passed in 1955, only to regulate the civil rights of Hindus. So this is the first instance in the independent India granted to Hindus, where we became the second great citizen in our own in our own partitioned country, our own partition country, where two laws came simultaneously. One is Waqf Act 1954, other was Hindu Code Bill 1954. Later on became Hindu Marriage Act 1955 and subsequent acts of Hindu marriage. Now the problem is, for Hindu Marriage Act, there is only civil laws which were regulated by the government in 1955, whereas for Waqf they brought this 1954 Act. The problem with this act was that after a few years, uh, in 1954 there were multiple sections which I'll come upon later on. But the problem is, I will come to that, which I wanted to share, that in 1954 Jawaharlal Nehru government gave some power to the work property by bringing Work Act, etc. Later on in 1984, when Rajiv Gandhi was the prime minister. See, again, every time it's a Congress government and it's some Gandhian who is doing this bad for Hindus in general. See, I am not against Gandhi's or Nehru's for that point, or Congress government in general, but they do certain things which reduces the stature of Hindus in their own country, that is partition country. In 1984, Rajiv Gandhi literally amended the act and brought the provision of a tribunal in Waqf. So, for those who do not know what a tribunal means, a tribunal is a specific quasi judicial body. So, suppose if someone has a problem of tax in this country, they do not go to court directly, they go to tax tribunal. That is like quasi judicial body of taxation. If someone is having a problem with, say, environment, some trees are being felled down, or if suppose some environmental disastrous things is happening in some state, so there is NGT, you might have heard of, National Green Tribunal. So tribunal is such that. Now for the same reason, this Rajiv Gandhi government in 1984 brought national Waqf Tribunal and introduced that into this act. Now what happened after that? Every problem or every challenge or every controversy arising out of work will now go to tribunal only. There could be no challenge in court directly from there. And the problem is that in 1995, now, subsequent Congress government again, 1995 was the government of PV Narasimha Rao. Now, PV Narasimha Rao was also a Congressee. And now someone may say that I am bashing Congress too much, but yes, you will see that every time it's Congress who do justice for work, or do injustice to the Hindus. Now, Till this 1984 tribunal and Rajiv Gandhi giving more power to work, Hindus became third grade citizen in their own country. But in 1995, during PV Narasimha Rao, he reduced us to even lesser grade in our own country. How? He made necessary or he made amendments in such a way where Waqf board was constituted, where Shariat came into picture. Now Waqf was directly regulated by Shariat and not by civil laws of this country. You know, and the worst problem is now there is a bar of people going to civil courts. Suppose you and I are having a problem of property, or I and you are is having you are in the mid of a property dispute. I cannot even approach the judiciary. That has been barred by the PV Narasimha Rao Congress government. What they did, that if there is a controversy between two parties and one is work or for that point Islamic property, one can only approach the tribunal. That is the worst kind of amendment ever could have been in this country.